LEGO Technic stands out as an engineering marvel. In the past half-century, the boundaries of functionality have been pushed to their absolute limits with increasingly advanced models. What are the 10 most functional LEGO Technic sets? This will not include any sets from the previous hardest to build functions video. Without any further ado, let's dive in. The Space Shuttle from 1996 will blow nearly every modern set away. Aside from the uniqueness of having an orbiter as a Technic set, you might think it's a pretty standard model. That could not be further from the truth. First of all, it actually used fiber optics to make the engines light up. It would work by spinning the axle on the light unit. It was also the first set to introduce the driving ring distribution gearbox, which allowed a motor single axle to control multiple different functions independently. The functions were opening the cargo bay, rotating the crane, raising it, as well as the fiber optic spinning axle. On top of having these mechanisms, it was actually packed with unique electronics such as the 9-volt micromotor used for opening up the satellite. It's pretty slow, but it gets the job done, and you can definitely use it in system sets for applications such as opening garages. Furthermore, it also contained the following 2x4 electric plate. So, instead of running wires through your model, you could cleverly set up a series of these pieces to have electricity run through your model's bricks. Even something as simple as the landing gear in this set still utilizes clever mechanisms. If you're fascinated by the Space Shuttle and want to uncover every secret LEGO Technic has to offer, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Not for me, but for Racing Brick. No pressure, of course. Really, no pressure. Next up is the LEGO Technic Mobile Crane set number 8421 from 2005. It is an absolute legend because it contained the highly desired buggy motor. Look at how powerful it is. The buggy motor powers the distribution gearbox, which switches between the double extending boom as well as raising and lowering of the hook. The boom elevation function is pneumatically controlled. In fact, in order to achieve the desired length of the pneumatic cylinder, 2 of them were stacked back to back. We also have steering of 3 of the 4 pairs of wheels. The front one would turn much more than the inner one due to some clever gearings on the inside. We also got a V6 engine mounted behind the cabin. The outriggers were also deployed quite beautifully. What I love about this set is that it beautifully combines both motorized gearbox functions with manual pneumatics. You get the best of both worlds. The Crane Truck 8258 from 2009 completely revolutionized several key features. For example, it introduced having 2 independently controlled axles pass through the center of a single turntable, which was later utilized in the 8043 motorized excavator. It is one of the few power function sets to come with the XL motor, and it even had a switch to select the direction of the motor. Using the distribution gearbox, you can make the outriggers extend with its fascinating mechanism. There are also 2 independently controlled linear actuators above the turntable, which is why you needed 2 motions to pass through the turntable. The cabin could be lifted to reveal the V8 engine, which is connected to a differential on the rear wheels. Much like the mobile crane, it also uses multiple sets of wheels for steering, and the outer one turns more than the inner one thanks to a gear ratio of 3/5. It is truly a testament to the engineering capabilities of the Technic design team, and I love how it offered complex and rewarding building techniques. It was among the largest Technic sets at the time and remains a favorite among enthusiasts for its intricate design and functionality. Here we have the LEGO Technic MercedesBenz Unimog U400. It came with a Power Functions medium motor which powered the gearbox, switching between the pneumatic compressor, winch, as well as rotation of the crane. It introduced the following 9.5L shock absorber with extra hard spring, which last appeared only in the 2013 exclusive edition crawler. The tires were brand new, and they were so thick that you could make a self-balancing unicycle with them. The portal axles as well as the pendular ball joints were introduced for the first time here, which was a game changer for building off-roaders. The drivetrain was connected to a 4-cylinder inline engine which sat below the cabin. However, what made the set truly special is the pneumatics. The crane was exceptionally fun to operate, and it was truly the first modern Technic set to take pneumatics to another level. It introduced the 6L small pneumatic pump, which was slightly longer than the old version. The Unimog proved that the possibilities with pneumatics were truly endless. The Test Car from 1988 was the 3rd generation car chassis. Despite driving rings being unavailable at the time, it still featured a 3-speed transmission using a sliding axle which engaged into different gears. This is by far the easiest type of transmission to understand in any Technic set. The sliding gears make the travel path from the wheels to the engine incredibly easy to understand, and you could determine right away what ratios are being used for each speed. The transmission would change the speed of the V4 engine, and this was the last set to use the square pistons before before they got replaced with the round ones we all know and love. This was the first set ever to have suspension on a steered axle, and all four wheels had fully independent suspension. The steering wheel would be connected with some universal joints. Based on the shape of the steering arms, it uses the Ackerman principle. Essentially, that means the inner wheel turns at a sharper angle than the outer one. This is exactly what's needed to prevent skidding and to constantly maintain proper traction. It is truly a unique building experience since you never see most of these pieces anymore. The 8851 Excavator from 1984 is truly legendary. For the first time in the history of Technic, it introduced the pneumatic system. You got a single pneumatic pump as well as 3 original cylinders, which only had a single tube connected to them instead of 2 like the modern ones. The manual pump has a single output. When you compress it, it creates positive pressure, and when it goes back up, it creates negative pressure. The pump would be connected to a distribution block with 2 outputs. One of these only outputs pressure, while the other one only has suction. From this block, pneumatic tubes would be routed to the switches. Selection of these switches allowed you to have either pressure output or suction from the same exact pneumatic tube, which is why you only needed to have a single port on each cylinder instead of 2 like the modern ones. As you're playing with it, it's truly mesmerizing to think about how the air circulates throughout the pneumatic system. Even something as simple as rotating the superstructure was absolutely fascinating in this excavator. An old 4x4 turntable is used, however, in order to prevent the superstructure from falling off, a newly introduced threaded axle was utilized along with a pair of jam nuts on either end. Next up, we have the Mindstorm's Robot Inventor 51515 set. While it's technically not part of the Technic theme, it uses nothing but Technic elements, which still makes it qualify. It came with the Spike Prime hub, which is much better than the 4-port Technic hub, since not only did you get 2 extra ports for the powered-up system, but you also got more advanced programming capabilities. The ability to run multiple programs from the hub, and even a rechargeable battery with micro USB. Much like the Technic hub, it had internal accelerometers which allowed it to measure its gyroscopic position and rate. Lawrence Volk managed to create self-balancing Segway robots with the Mindstorm's hub, much like how he did it in the NXT and EV3 eras. Best of all, this 6-port hub worked with any powered-up Technic motor, so you could, for example, simply replace the 4-port hubs with this one and have extra ports for either more motors or additional sensors, and you could make every single Technic model fully automated. This set featured 5 main robots on the box, one of which is very similar to the Boston Dynamics robot dog. However, these 5 haven't even scratched the surface of what's truly possible, since you got an additional 17 robots in the community tab of the app, one of which, Neptunian, is designed by yours truly, me, the president, the emperor, and the king of Mindstorms. Thanks to my contributions, I even received a brand new sealed Mindstorm set signed by the entire Mindstorms design team along with a special letter from them. Have you ever wanted to combine the complexities of Mindstorms programming together with insane mechanical engineering of Technic? Well, all of the next sets are even crazier. The Barcode Multicet 8479 was an absolutely insane garbage truck. It came with the programmable code pilot, which has a single output for the motor as well as a single input for the touch sensor. In order to program it, you needed to scan barcodes from the included card. There are a total of 44 of these different blocks of code, each represented by a barcode, and through mixing and matching, you could create a wide variety of different programs, all without ever even turning on your computer. On top of using the barcode reader for programming, it actually also served a completely different purpose. The set came with the unique white version of the timing gear. The gear would sit right below the barcode scanner of the code pilot. The faster you moved the truck, the faster the timing gear would turn, and based on the speed differences, the code pilot would make different engine sounds depending on the speed. Essentially, you built your own version of the rotation sensors which are being used in all modern Technic motors. On top of being highly programmable, it featured pretty complex internal mechanisms such as a distribution gearbox. The single motor could drive either the arm or the bed. The gearbox selector also activated the touch sensor, which allowed the code pilot to know which position the gearbox is selected in. The mechanisms are so clever in this model, and the integration with electronic programming is truly mesmerizing. The Control Center 2 of 1995 features what's easily the single greatest Technic helicopter ever. Sure, we've gotten cool ones such as the H-175, but unlike any other, the Control Center helicopter can actually be flown like a flight simulator. The 3 high-speed 9-volt motors were responsible for the spinning rotors, pitch, and roll. You could make it fly higher or lower by raising and lowering the control center itself. The playability is truly unlike any other. The internal mechanisms utilized a clever arrangement of blocks and rubber bands. You could rebuild the helicopter into the T-Rex. The movements are nothing short of incredible too. You could move the tail, jaw, and arms. This model is so iconic that there's even a life-size model of it in several Legolands around the world, such as at the Windsor Resort in London as well as in Carlsbad, California. You could also rebuild the dinosaur into the boat, which is essentially a large hovercraft. Instead of being stationary, it can drive and be steered using the control center too. It is tethered to the control center with wires, so you have to follow the model around while it is driving. Unfortunately, there is no differential here, and only one of the wheels is driven. The programmable control center itself is exceptionally awesome. It can either be powered by batteries or by plugging into a wall outlet, which means I can run the helicopter indefinitely. You program it by recording your inputs and then storing that exact sequence in the control center. The program is still stored even if you turn it off and back on. It's so highly desired that it goes for over $600 on Bricklink. All I have to say about that is,
price is the price, yo.
Before I reveal the number 1 pick, I would like to give an honorable mention to the multi-control set 8082 from 1993. You built a controller for the car, which consisted of a 9-volt battery as well as switches, and like the hovercraft from the control center, the controller was wired to the car, so you had to follow it around. You could build multiple different controllable models, and the forklift even had a gearbox where you could switch it with a motor. Motorized gearboxes are always fascinating. Finally, we have the legendary LEGO Technic Liebherr R9800-4100. While the powered-up system was introduced with a crawler, the Excavator is the one that truly showed what the new system was capable of. For example, by moving the arm in the app, the Excavator copied the movements of the arm on the screen exactly. Its 7 independent motors allowed you to control every single function independently, though, practically speaking, how would you put 7 fingers on your smartphone? Still though, I absolutely love how powerful the bucket is. I loved digging with this set, and you can easily dig up some sand or dirt, and it works flawlessly. The unique bucket dumps out by opening itself, which is something never before seen in a Technic model. To be honest, I was not a fan of this set when it first came out, mainly due to you being unable to customize the controls of the powered-up system when this first came out. However, it has long been fixed, and you're able to make your own control profiles in the powered-up app, and PyBricks created by Lawrence Volk allows you to program the hubs with Python or Scratch, meaning the Excavator is essentially a large Mindstorm set. While I disliked the set when it first came out, I have come to love it and appreciate it. It contains 7 motors along with 2 hubs. It introduced some brand new long linear actuators. It came with 4,108 pieces, and you got all that for only $450, which is an excellent deal. If you would like to see how this Excavator performs in real world environments and my full detailed review of it, then click on the video in the bottom left corner. If you would like to see the 10 most difficult functions to build, then click on the video in the top left corner. This is your Unbrick Me here, and I'll see you in the next one.